Such a pleasure to be here. I want to thank you all for the invitation to be able to come and speak here. This has been a really interesting time in my life. I came to Oregon, just to tell you a little bit about myself, from northern Minnesota. Yeah, sure, you betcha. Let's have a hot dish and some Jell-O. And I came here, it was kind of predestined. My dad served at he was at Camp Adair, and my mother was in Minnesota. And she drove with some friends to Oregon to be with my dad. And all of the years after that, she worked at Montgomery Ward's and she loved it. And she loved Filbert's and she loved See's chocolates. And it was predestined that she would be here because in Idaho, they got out to get gas and she left her purse on the back bumper of the car. And 100 miles down the road, she remembered that she didn't have her purse and got out of the car, and there was the purse still on the back bumper with the $100 in it that she had to be able to come to Oregon. Well, she met wonderful people here. My dad shipped out then to the Aleutian Islands, but she made friends that would send her beloved Filberts and her See's chocolates every year. And we would get that box at Christmas time, and as kids, we could hardly wait because Mom would take out a chocolate and she'd cut it in 4 pieces and we each got to have a piece. And we would eat the Filberts and enjoy it. And Oregon was special in my mind from that time. I taught in northern Minnesota in a little town called Warren, where on a clear night you could see the lights of North Dakota. You could see Thief River Falls. You could see the lights from Crookston, and they were all about 30 miles away. It was that flat. I always longed for the mountains. A girlfriend and I came out here, and it was going to be just for 2 years, so I could really see what Oregon was like. Well, here I am, still, living the dream. And I still love Filberts, and I have a box of See's chocolate in the cupboard. This has been quite a journey, because all of my life, my parents believed that service to government, service to community, service to the schools was important. And it kind of bled over into the rest of the family. As a teacher, I felt that service was something that was born in me because I had all the responsibilities of all of these wonderful young people. And it poured over into my church. I am a Catholic. I've been going to the same Catholic church for 52 years and loving every minute of it. As a lector, as a communion minister, as a liturgist, I have worked for my church. I ran a food booth for 25 years at the Tillamook County Fair, serving the best hamburgers in the world, managing 52 volunteers a day, and having a wonderful time. And then I got interested in city politics. I was interested in the budget and why we didn't have any more money to be able to spend on our streets. So I got involved in that. A city councilor was leaving. They asked me if I'd replace him. I said, of course I would. I spent 8 years on the city council, then ran for mayor, and spent my term there, my 11 years there. And I loved every minute of it because I could serve my community, I could make my community better, I could bring something to my community, and my community was my gift to me. Now you have to realize that there's something else moving around all of this, because God ordains all this. He makes this possible. And I am blessed to be able to stand here and say that everything I have done has been a gift from God. Then I decided to run for the legislature. And we hadn't had a Republican legislator in House District 32 in 18 years. And unfortunately, I spent $2.5 million getting a $30,000 a year job. But I won. And then a lovely lady by the name of Betsy Johnson, and I know you're familiar with the name, came to me and said, Suzanne, I'm going to run for governor. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but I'd like you to replace me. And I said, of course, I'll try. And as God would have it, I also won that election. Well, we need to really pray for our government. Because once you get into government and you see how things really work, you really need to bring the Holy Spirit and God into the mix, and we haven't done that in a long time. We have taken God out of government, out of schools. We have taken him out of society. He is the reason we succeed, and we need to bring him back. When you serve in politics, you are there to serve others and hold yourself to a higher standard. And we have found that has not been necessarily true. Politics is a fundamental human institution that plays a vital role in society. It is the management of people and their mores. When you earn the public's trust and you're entrusted with the ability to serve, you take an oath. And it's an oath beyond the Constitution and the laws of our country. This oath may not be enunciated, but it implies that you serve ethically, with integrity, and loyalty to the people you serve, and most of the time, impartiality, and you listen with objectivity, and that you invest your time in your district and you educate yourself to all of the consequences of the choices you make, and you delve deeply into the meaning of your actions. You are held to a higher standard, a standard that is above and beyond reproach, and that you are always being watched for that moment when your human weaknesses are being exposed. Many politicians let their ego get in the way. They lose the humility it takes to learn about people, learn about their circumstances, and to be able to help them. And it is unfortunate that that is an evil that exists in our government. As you know, at the present time, we're in the midst of a struggle that is really going to test our resolve. The last time there was a successful walkout where people left the state was over cap and trade. And that was a monumental movement on my Republican brothers and sisters. Well, we haven't left the Capitol. We are still working. We are there every day. We have not left the state. We are participating in our committees. We are meeting with our constituents. We are just not in the building when they go to the floor to vote. And it is 2002. And something called SJR 33. To be able to put abortion into our Constitution that is so dreadfully wrong. We remember what the Constitution tells us. We remember that we represent the people. We remember the value of our word. And we look to the harm that could possibly arise from decisions that are not taken lightly and from the unintended consequences that will result. We are reminded of the legislation that hangs in the balance because everyone is saying, we're leaving all these bills on the table and they're not being voted on and they're not being passed. Well, folks, we've lived without those bills for a heck of a long time. They can come again if they're that important. We will be back in the building to pass budget bills because we want our education to be funded. We want our housing initiatives to be funded. We want to make sure that the homeless are taken care of. All of the issues all of that money that came in from the revenue forecast, that was an exceptional amount of money, will be able to help the citizens of the state. The integral part of this choice is the Holy Spirit that is guiding us. The Holy Spirit is continually being placed into our lives in prayer. Prayer and sacrifice and service. We need to be one with the people that we serve. We need to be servants of the people, and that's what our government needs to be. Now, there may come a time when our actions result in our not being able to run again for our office. Because everyone except 2 of the senators that are involved in this have the 10 days of unexcused absences. If that is the case, we're going to need people with what I said, with integrity, with loyalty to the people, with impartiality, with objectivity, to be able to come forward, stand up, and be able to represent the people. Represent the people with the same zeal that we are working with right now to be able to represent our people. That is my prayer. That is what I wish you to pray for. That if we can't come back, if we can't continue to represent you in the capacity that we are, that there are people with strength and courage and the Lord on their side to be able to come forward and do it. I'd like to pray, Holy Spirit, we beg forgiveness for all of our failings and if we have caused harm. And we ask you to fill our political leaders with wisdom and understanding and discernment and knowledge, and to increase their faith and their reliance on you, and to ensure that their decisions are morally right. Please, Lord, through the Holy Spirit, keep hearts and motives pure and obedient to your will. Please have mercy on this nation as we stand now. Surround our states with spiritual leaders that are also prepared to lead with the same service and love to you, and to be surrounded to the point that they will not yield to temptation. Thank you for letting me be here.